All Norwegian universities are now required by the government to introduce a system of what they call pedagogical merits, a system that identifies and rewards excellence in university teaching. I spoke to Reidar Lyng of the Norwegian University of Science and Technology and asked him to describe the background to this government directive.
Historically, go back 5 years when two of the vice rectors of the universities of Tromsø and Trondheim, from travels in England and in Scandinavia, encountered systems for recognition of pedagogical merits, specifically Lund, and but also Helsinki and Umeå and other places. And they were quite convinced that it was necessary to recognize pedagogical merits more than we'd done so far. So they did what you usually do in these situations. You set down a committee to work out some outlines for how to go about. And that committee came to be led by Professor Gunnar Grepperud from the University of Tromsø. People heard about that initiative at the ministry and at other universities, so that in the beginning of 2016, the first report was delivered from Tromsø and Trondheim, and the people at the Science and Mathematical Faculty in Bergen decided that they could implement such a thing in close collaboration with people from Lund, basically, who helped them develop this together with their pedagogical developers. So in terms of implementation, Bergen, Tromsø, and Trondheim were the three first to try out such a system. And in parallel with this work, the people at the Ministry of Education heard about it and was interested in it and included that in what was called a quality report, you could call it, early 2016, where they said that they expected all institutions of higher education in Norway to implement such a system by the end of 2019. And as I understand it, most of them, if not all, are on board with this, at least now in 2020.
Universities across Norway are working to design and implement this pedagogical merit system, which typically sits alongside the formal promotion and appointment system, such that any academic can apply. And if they meet the requisite standard in teaching and learning, they'll be awarded a pedagogical merit, which typically will come with a bump in salary and also additional responsibilities in teaching and learning. In addition to the introduction of the pedagogical merits, a number of universities in Norway have also been looking at how to reform their promotion and reward systems. I spoke to Bjørn Stensaker from the University of Oslo to hear more about the changes that they were making.
And from the University of Oslo point of view, we were looking to have a system where we could instigate some more fundamental changes. So what we did when this legal framework were introduced was to have a look at the entire system of hiring and promotion at the university, and really trying to look into, are we recognizing and rewarding the teaching part of academic position? Are we really doing a serious job there? And after reviewing our own hiring and promotion systems, the answer to that was no. So what we did was to use the legislation to actually try to push a more of a teaching agenda, also when it comes to the formal hiring criteria and the criteria for promotion into the different steps of into the different positions that you have academically, and where we saw that, you know, this merit-based system, that this could be the final step, so to speak, coming on top for those that really have done an extraordinary effort in this area. And we surely want to recognize those that are doing a fantastic and an extraordinary job here. But at the same time, if we are to instigate cultural change in higher education, we need to, rather than to focus on the merit system as such, we need to do changes in the regular hiring and promotion processes. So we're trying to introduce the SOCL criteria throughout the hiring and promotion system, And on top of that, we have put the merit-based system, and that is also that have made it easier for us to actually identify some kind of a threshold, because the merit system is supposed to reward those that are doing an extraordinary effort. But then we need to define what are the generic expectations then for an associate professor or for a full professor and so forth. And you could be a merit teacher at all levels. I mean, the system is meant to reward both associate professors and also people with a professor position. So we needed to find a system where, okay, how can we define extraordinary effort? Well, then we need to actually define some kind of standard expectations when it comes to teaching and learning. And so for us, we've been trying to not focus on the few, but to use this as a way to change the system for the many.
As Bjørn went on to explain, while the universities in other countries, such as the Netherlands, have been working together in the design of a shared framework, the collaboration across Norwegian universities is more likely to come after each of them has implemented a bespoke model for rewarding and recognising teaching, and collaborating through the evaluation of these programs and the shared lessons learned.
I think a couple of universities were early starters here, and they introduced the system ahead of the rest of us. But I think, and we looked into their practices and we have learned from what they have done. But at the same time, I would also say that I think those that started up early did a few mistakes as well. I mean, they didn't open up the system to everyone. And they had they made some choices also not to focus on the generic hiring and promotion system. So I think when we saw and we indeed learned a lot from the other universities, but we decided that that some of these early initiatives weren't really what we were looking for at the University of Oslo. So we've been trying to adopt our own interpretation of the national legislation. But what I do see now is that there is an increasing interest in when it comes to implementation, because now everyone has these systems in place, and I think what we see now is a mutual interest into studying each other, benchmarking the practices that we now see unfold, and we have a national pedagogical network where academic developers meet, and this is one of the issues that we have been discussing over time. So I think so far we haven't been cooperating a lot when it comes to the design of the systems, but I think we will collaborate much more when it comes to to benchmark and compare our system, not least how they are actually functioning on the ground.